Welcome back to the Black and Gold Report. Again, we're talking to women's head basketball coach John Hoskins. I wanted to continue on the FSU talk for a minute. This could probably be the biggest home crowd of the season as well. You got a women and men's doubleheader. Does a larger crowd affect your players either at home or on the road when they have a hostile crowd on the road or a favorable crowd, or do they tune the noise out when they're on the court?
I actually think crowds help. I know when I played, I'd rather play in front of a packed gym or nearly packed gym, whether they were cheering for me or against me, than an empty gym. And I actually think the crowds will help, and obviously a home crowd will help. I think the biggest thing is, with the noise level and communicating, defenses communicating offensive sets, those type of things is the biggest concern. Sometimes with big crowds they get a little overexcited and you got to calm them down a little bit. But I definitely think the crowds help.
Does Fayetteville State travel well? Do they bring a lot of people?
I think they probably will. Yeah, they'll bring a pretty good crowd.
Okay. Well, the Fayetteville State game marks the first of 3 home games that you have over a 5-day period. You play Morris on Thursday, and then you start Peach Belt play with a tilt against a very strong Lander team coming up on Saturday, the day that this airs. And we'll get to those in a minute. But first, it has to be nice to finally get to play a game at home, right?
It is. Our last 2, scrimmage and exhibition, and then our first 3 games have been on the road. And I kind of like that because then your kids get used to having to go off and travel and play in a foreign gym and maybe play against a hostile crowd. And I like that to start the season, but it's going to be nice to get back home.
Have you scouted ahead to Morris? I know you've got Fayetteville State coming up, but Morris is next. And if you have, what does Morris bring to the table?
Topeka did the Morris scout, and I think they're a little bit undersized, but an athletic team that plays very hard. So, and probably a very well coached team. So I think we're going to have to be ready to play. I'll see them on film, but I haven't seen them in person.
And I also wanted to remind the crowd that the teams are going to be doing a Toys for Tots drive during that Morris game on the 1st. So the fans are, please bring a.
Yeah, if they bring a toy that's a new unwrapped toy, they get their free admission to the game. And then the Toys for Tots representative will also be accepting donations. So.
Outstanding, and any time after the game as well.
Right.
Well, we all know how strong Lander is. They're one of the perennial powers in Peach Belt, although they dropped their home opener this year against Barton. I'm sure you noticed that. Do you expect to see the same kind of quality from Lander this year that you're used to them from this squad, and how ideally do you stop Lander?
They're very talented, and I think the biggest thing that Kevin's running into is probably integrating some new players into his system. They've got their perimeters back, which includes Jasmine Judge, who's probably been one of the best 3-point shooters in the league since I've been in the league in women's basketball. Got very quick guards, and 2 transfer posts who are very good, one from North Georgia and one from Lenore Ryan, who are very good post players. So I'll get an opportunity to see them at Francis Marion on Wednesday night. So have a little bit more information. But they'll be very good, and we're going to have to play very well.
Sure. You mentioned that they might be having a few growing pains, but your team, you think, is probably going through that as well. You have a lot of players on your team who are relatively inexperienced, who didn't see a lot of time on the court last year. You're fitting in new players. You're trying to find a starting 5 that meshes a little bit. Talk about the development of the team so far at this point.
Well, I think we're a work in progress. I think that the kids, and we're not so much young, I think, as inexperienced in terms of a lot of game experience with Anya getting more experience, Courtney getting more experience, Jasmine Hairston getting more experience, Victoria McVicker getting more experience, and then now freshmen and transfers getting experience. So I think we will continue to improve. Our girls are working hard, and I think we'll be a team that will continue to improve as the year goes on.
It's interesting in the Peach Belt in that they bring a lot of, unlike a lot of Division I programs and conferences, you see a lot of conference games relatively early in the schedule. In the Peach Belt, do you like that, or would you rather have more non-conference games to help you prepare for Peach Belt play?
Well, it's kind of tough when they come in, the 3rd or 4th game into the season. I think that makes it a little bit more difficult. You'd rather get 6, 7, 8 games under your belt before you play conference games, and I think that's going to change a little bit with the new scheduling for next year, where they're going to move back all of our conference games till after Christmas.
Real quick, Coach, about 30 seconds left. Kapika Davis has been your assistant coach for 6 years now. Talk a little bit about your relationship and what her strengths are.
She was a grad assistant for Sandy Littleton when Sandy was the coach here, and moved right from that position into my full-time assistant. She just does a great job for us in terms of everything, organization, on the floor coaching, recruiting. The girls come to her before they're coming to me with issues. So,
All right, Coach.
which makes sense.
Well,
So,
good luck. We hope you get 3 victories this week, and that's all the time that we have for this week's edition of the Black and Gold Report. Until next week, go Braves.